the late 19th century, one name struck fear, admiration, and resentment in equal measure: John D. Rockefeller. He wasn't just the world's first billionaire, he was the man who built Standard Oil into the most dominant monopoly the world had ever seen. His methods were brilliant, brutal, and at times, unapologetically ruthless. Rockefeller's journey from a boy in rags to the undisputed king of oil is as much a story of relentless ambition as it is a cautionary tale about unchecked power. Born in 1839, Rockefeller grew up in a struggling farm family. His father, Devil Bill, was a conman who vanished for weeks at a time, living a double life as a traveling quack doctor. His mother, a devout and disciplined woman, held the family together and instilled in young John the values of hard work, thrift, and responsibility. Even as a child, John found ways to make money, raising turkeys, lending small sums, and keeping meticulous records. By his teens, he was managing the family's finances, proving himself more dependable than his father. At 16, he faced rejection after rejection while hunting for work in Cleveland, but he persisted until landing a bookkeeping job, an event he celebrated for the rest of his life as Job Day. The role introduced him to the mechanics of business, tracking expenses, managing suppliers, and understanding the flow of money. Inspired, he adopted a mantra he repeated each morning: "I am bound to be rich." Even then, he practiced disciplined giving, donating 1/10 of his small income to charity. Rockefeller's first taste of entrepreneurship came when he partnered with Maurice Clark in a produce business. They used clever tactics to secure loans, and when the Civil War drove food prices sky high, profits soared. Rockefeller avoided the battlefield by paying for substitutes to serve in his place, but he supported the Union financially. Then opportunity knocked. Samuel Andrews, a chemist with a superior method for refining kerosene, needed investors. Rockefeller and Clark funded a small refinery, and within a year it was outperforming their produce trade. By 1865, oil prices were volatile, driven by the boom and bust nature of drilling in Pennsylvania. Rockefeller decided not to gamble on drilling at all. He would refine oil, not extract it. That same year, he bought out Clark's share for $72,500, a daring move given the market's instability. Days later, a massive new oil field was discovered, setting the stage for an industry explosion. To expand, Rockefeller partnered with Henry Flagler, a man who shared his relentless drive and embraced the idea that business was war. They negotiated secret rebates with railroads, slashing transportation costs below what competitors could get. With lower costs, they triggered price wars, cutting prices until rivals went bankrupt, then raising them again once competition was gone. It was aggressive, entirely legal at the time, and devastatingly effective. In 1872, Rockefeller joined forces with major railroads in the notorious South Improvement Company, securing not only huge discounts but also a cut of competitors' shipping fees, so-called drawbacks. He even received detailed intelligence on rival shipments. The scheme would have wiped out anyone outside the alliance, but when the public learned of it, outrage boiled over. Protests, boycotts, and sabotage erupted, forcing the company's dissolution. Rockefeller wasn't deterred. In the panic left by the scandal, he used fear as leverage. Within 6 weeks, an event later dubbed the Cleveland Massacre, he acquired 22 of the city's 26 refineries, often paying far less than their worth. Owners could either join Standard Oil or agree never to work in the industry again. Most chose to join, bringing their expertise under his control. The 1873 financial panic crushed oil demand, but Rockefeller saw opportunity where others saw ruin. Standard Oil stayed profitable through tight management, modern equipment, and deep credit lines. While competitors went under, Rockefeller expanded, buying plants, monopolizing equipment supplies, and blocking rivals' access to transportation. By the time the economy recovered, Standard dominated every major refining hub and had built a pipeline network that earned it the nickname the Octopus. Then came war with the Pennsylvania Railroad. When the company built its own refineries and pipelines, Rockefeller struck back, cutting all Standard shipments from their lines, slashing prices, and pressuring rival railroads to undercut Pennsylvania's rates. The financial strain sparked one of the most violent labor strikes in US history, leaving rail yards in flames. In the end, the Pennsylvania Railroad surrendered, granting Rockefeller secret rebates and competitor intelligence in exchange for guaranteed traffic. By now, Standard Oil controlled 90% of US refining. But Rockefeller's victories created powerful enemies. Among them was Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate, who blamed Rockefeller for the death of his mentor, Pennsylvania Railroad President Tom Scott. Their rivalry would become a battle not just of wealth, but of dominance in America's industrial age. Rockefeller's dominance in oil was nearly absolute, but he wasn't content to rule just one empire. The discovery of massive oil fields in Ohio pushed him toward vertical integration, controlling every stage from drilling to refining, transporting, and selling. Standard Oil bought land, drilled wells, laid pipelines, and built storage facilities, cutting out middlemen entirely. The Ohio fields produced foul-smelling skunk oil that others dismissed, but Rockefeller's chemists found a way to remove the sulfur. It became yet another market he owned, giving Standard a head start before even larger oil booms in Texas, Oklahoma, and California. As automobiles spread, Rockefeller turned gasoline, once a waste product, into a gold mine. Even during the 1893 Depression, when hundreds of banks failed, Standard thrived. Rockefeller stepped back from daily operations, focusing on investments. He brought in Baptist minister Frederick Gates to manage his fortune, alongside his son, John D. Rockefeller Jr. Gates helped transform Rockefeller's scattered, often poor investments into a diversified empire. One acquisition stood out: the Mesabi Range in Minnesota, home to one of the richest iron ore deposits in the world. This move alarmed Andrew Carnegie, the king of steel. Carnegie feared Rockefeller would build steel mills and challenge him directly. The two negotiated a truce. Carnegie would buy huge quantities of Rockefeller's ore and ship it on railroads Rockefeller controlled in exchange for a secret rebate. Both agreed not to invade the other's core industry, but banker J.P. Morgan had a bigger vision, merging Carnegie Steel with Rockefeller's mining interests to form U.S. Steel, the world's first billion-dollar corporation. Rockefeller's sons skillfully negotiated, securing $88.5 million in U.S. steel stock, worth billions today. Meanwhile, Standard Oil grew even more profitable thanks to the gasoline boom, and Rockefeller's wealth reached unprecedented heights. Though technically retired, Rockefeller still owned a massive stake in Standard Oil, making him richer each year. But public anger over monopolies was boiling. Investigative journalist Ida Tarbell, whose family had been crushed by Rockefeller's tactics, published a damning expose revealing his secret deals, intimidation, and political manipulation. President Theodore Roosevelt seized the moment, launching an antitrust crusade against Standard Oil. The government accused the company of monopolization, predatory pricing, railroad rebates, espionage, and illegal control of competitors. The 1911 Supreme Court ruling was historic. Standard Oil was ordered to be broken into 34 independent companies. Many thought Rockefeller had been dealt a fatal blow. But because he owned shares in all the new companies, the breakup tripled the value of his holdings, pushing him toward becoming the world's first billionaire. Carnegie was left far behind. With his fortune secure, Rockefeller turned to philanthropy on an industrial scale. He created the Rockefeller Foundation with Gates and his son, pouring hundreds of millions into medicine, education, and scientific research. His money helped eradicate diseases like hookworm and malaria, built schools across the US and abroad, and founded leading research institutions. By the time of his death at 97, Rockefeller had given away over $500 million. Yet his legacy remained split between ruthless monopolist and visionary benefactor. As one biographer put it, Rockefeller's good side was every bit as good as his bad side was bad. He was, simultaneously, one of history's most generous philanthropists and one of its most feared businessmen. In the end, perhaps his son said it best: there was only ever one John D. Rockefeller.